What is going on, everybody? It's KB. Before the episode starts, make sure you go check out StreamerSZN's brand new theme music. That's right. We have full-time, brand new theme music thanks to the newest homie and newest member of the music side of Underground Sports Philadelphia homies. That is Mobley. Stay Volk. His new single is out now. It is linked in the description on YouTube, and you'll be hearing it on audio until we can figure out if we can play it on video on StreamerSZN episodes from here on out. That's our new theme music. Stay Volk. Go download it now wherever you get your music, and go check out the music video on YouTube. But now, let's get into the episode of StreamerSZN.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Big yikes indeed, brother.
What is going on, fellow streamers? Welcome back to another episode of StreamerSZN, the exclusive streaming platform, TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast network. It's a vintage classic show this week, but we've got a nice little twist. It's KB and Dylan coming at you. We're going to be breaking down The Last of Us Episode 2. We got our top 50. Nielsen ratings pandered to us today, Dylan. We got the 2022 top 15 Nielsen ratings for streaming platforms, which is very exciting. We're going to dive into that. And then, of course, we'll get into the streaming platform multiverse news and notes. If you're watching on YouTube, which you should be, you can obviously see Christian's not on with us right now. But earlier in the day, Christian hopped on, did his review of The Last of Us Episode 2. So that will be put in right before Dylan and I get to our ratings for Episode 2. So you'll hear from Christian, you'll get his thoughts, you'll get his score, and then we'll obviously give our scores as well for the people. Christian's just going to see a exclusive screening of a movie because he's that guy. So he'll be back full-time on the episode next week. It's not like he's going anywhere. But Dylan and I get to kick it Cowabunga Boy style and do the damn thing. But before we dive into The Last of Us Episode 2, make sure you guys follow us on the socials at StreamerSZN on Twitter, Instagram. Follow Dylan on Twitter at Dylan Mazzola. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We're there. Dylan, I was looking at our podcast, like, just demographics this past week when I was uploading the episode. Pull it up here because it's always fun to see who's, tuning in. And while I pull those up, Dylan, what should the people be doing in the Apple Podcast reviews?
Say the line.
Say the line.
The line is the same line I've been saying for a while, but it means the most. You should be leaving in those reviews, the comments, etc. You should be leaving recommendations on what Kyle, Christian, and I are to watch next. It could be movie or TV show on a streaming service. That literally narrows it down to, a lot. so give us an idea, and we'll go from there. Bless you if that was just a news host.
Thank you, it was. And I did the smart thing and muted my microphone so people don't yell at me.
True, because that would hurt their ears.
It would. But yeah, we currently have a 10% listenership geographic-wise in Canada.
Dude, I love hockey. So. And
the number one province, if you will, your pals over there in Saskatoon.
Hey.
Saskatchewan, 63% of our 10% is in Saskatchewan. So shout out to Saskatooners there. The Saskatoon cartoons. Well, that's our fan base in Saskatchewan. They're the Saskatoon cartoons.
I'm sure they love the nickname.
Dylan, we actually did get somebody to submit a show for us to watch.
Hey,
on the Twitter machine.
Who was it?
It was good friend of the network and just personally, Casey Liberator, photographer extraordinaire. She tweeted out, I know I'm late on insert show hashtag here, but holy shit, what an amazing show. It is so, so, so good. Follow-up tweet, tagged us. If we haven't watched this one yet, I highly, highly recommend it. It is called The Trader. It's on Peacock. It's a reality show but it is it's like a murder mystery type
I am
of
Googling
show.
this show now.
I believe it's 24 contestants, and it's like a murder mystery solving type of thing, and it takes place in a castle in Scotland, hosted by Alan Cummings.
Huh. I am intrigued.
I looked it up and I said, I was like Dan Le Batard's dad. See, I'm very intrigued. I saw a lot of people, like, when I was just searching through the hashtag, they said, if you're a fan of like Survivor, Big Brother, The Amazing Race, and shows like that, you'll really enjoy The Trader. So it's on the list. We're going to add that to the list and color us intrigued. So shout out to Casey for submitting a show recommendation there on the Twitter machine. You guys can do the same thing. Or like Dylan said, leave it in the Apple Podcast reviews. And you can also leave it in the YouTube comment section. Subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That's where you get full video episodes of this podcast and all the shows on our network. You get shorts, clips, interviews. We're working on doing more interviews for this show too. We're trying to get our tentacles interweaved into the Hollywood space and get some fun interviews this year. That is a big goal of ours for 2023. And obviously try to get our friend Mike Horowitz back on the show as well, because his Twitter bio, I don't know if it's updated or not, but his Twitter bio has all of his shows that he's worked on. And it says, and an upcoming HBO Max show. So, Mike, we'd love to have you back on the show once we're allowed to discuss that one, but make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really helps. It's a big thing that we're trying to grow in 2023. We're currently at, Dylan, 362 subscribers. Trying to get to 1,000, though. Need to hit that 1,000 mark. Still
Game
feel like
over
we
for
can.
me.
Still think we can get to like 375 by the end of January. We got, at the time of recording this, guys got about like 5 days to make it happen. Be a friend, tell a friend, subscribe to the YouTube. Smash that like button, ring the bell icon, comment down below your thoughts on The Last of Us, the Nielsen ratings, and everything else Dylan and I talk about on today's episode. And make sure you guys go get your merch from our amazing merch partners, PHI Apparel Company, because StreamerSZN is brought to you today by PHI Apparel Company. They provide unique designs and high-quality clothing for the great fans of Philly. Obviously, if you're tuning in, you're more than likely a fan of Philly sports. Go Birds. And you're a fan of Underground Sports Philadelphia, because PHI Apparel Company is the exclusive home to all of our merch. And there's no doubt when you guys are going out to the movie theater, when you're chilling at home watching your favorite shows and movies, going to a friend's house, maybe a little Netflix and chilling, you're gonna look the best because you're gonna be wearing your StreamerSZN merch. Dylan, I have a hoodie coming very, very soon, which I'm super stoked about. There's no doubt you guys are going to stand out. Like, I personally want to have my StreamerSZN hoodie ready to rock and roll for when Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania comes out, and I can wear that bad boy to the movie theater, and people be like, yo, where'd you get that hoodie? And I'll be like, yo, it's for my podcast, and you can rep it as well. And you can use promo code UNDERGROUND at checkout for 10% off any apparel when you shop online at phiapparel.co. That's phiapparel.co. Use code UNDERGROUND to get 10% off any and all merch, any order, anytime. It's the most effective and direct way to support us here at Underground Sports as we continue to take this thing to the moon. So go get your merch, and when you get it, tweet at us, tag us. We want to see where you're repping StreamerSZN and Underground Sports Philadelphia across the globe. But Dylan, let's get into The Last of Us, Episode 2. This episode was titled Infected.
Well, that's pretty accurate.
Quite accurate. It was quite the episode, to say the least. I think it was the perfect follow-up episode to last week's premiere. Where, like, this episode, not that it, like, blew the doors off, like, last week's episode did, but it was like one of those perfect foundation pieces.
It wasn't much worse in the context, I feel like you would agree, of like ratings. So like what our rating was last week, I don't think it would be much lower, which is good because to agree with you, sometimes you run that risk of when the show opens up so amazing, sometimes the second episode kind of like flutters or
Yes.
stuff, you know what I mean? And this is like, ugh, but did not do that.
It was very similar in a sense to me, kind of like Andor in a way, where like Andor hit you in the mouth with that premiere, and then episode 2 was still very solid and very good, and like helped move the plot along. But it wasn't like, here, I'm gonna 1-2 punch you right in the jaw. It was like, here's more storyline, here's more base, and then the ending is just like, here you go. This is what's going to come next. So I really like the approach that they took in this episode for, continuing to lay the foundation for where they're going to take us on this journey.
Yeah, it was a little more of a... Well, I can't say... Because the first one wasn't slow either, but like this one's a slow burn. I would say that in the sense of like, with the title, if you saw it, you knew you were going to see a zombie. You just also, if you watched the ending credit of the first one, you saw the clicker on top of the rooftop, and you heard it, and they were going towards that direction. So you can put context clues together, and you were like, "I'm gonna see it." Plus, you played the game, you knew you were gonna see something soon. So it's just kind of like you're eagerly waiting. Like when they were touring the not so scary part of the episode, the broken hotel, I was like, "Yo, it's gonna be there. It's gonna be in one of those rooms." But no, zombies don't like the hotel. Apparently, they were staying away.
Yeah, it was the Hotel California. Such a lovely place. Before we dive into our full blown breakdown, what did you make? Obviously, Dylan is our video game expert for The Last of Us because he is the one who has played the game and has that knowledge going into this. What did you make of the clickers and how they looked and how they made you kind of feel? They talk about it in the post-show stuff that they show on HBO, of kind of like, if you played the game and you see them, you're like, oh shit, like, that's them. And if you haven't watched it, you're just like, oh shit, what the fuck is about to happen?
For me, I probably speak for anyone who's played the game. You definitely felt the fear, just like you and anyone else did who watched it. But you also felt like the annoyance because it's like with any horror game. Once you play it enough, you're still scared, but you get used to the monsters. So there's a certain point in like The Last of Us where you're like, oh, these fucking guys again. You're still scared because they're so annoying. You have to be quiet, and they don't die as easy as the other ones. They do die. I think there's like 6 or 5 stages of infected. They are like, I'm not sure where they would be ranked, but they are like top 3 in terms of dying easier. But you see in the show, they do have a little bit of armor via the fungi and the mushrooms, and they are annoying. But no, I think that's pretty spot on. They are not that different than what they are in the show, or the game, rather.
I do have to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, Merritt McLaughlin. They put on Facebook, decided on a whim to watch The Last of Us on HBO, and they made mushrooms as part of their dinner.
Oh, no.
And the Facebook post said, I'm going to read the Facebook post verbatim, because I could not help but laugh out loud when I was reading this.
I haven't eaten mushrooms since the show came out. Is that coincidence?
I think not. Here we go. Knowing absolutely nothing about it, I decided to watch The Last of Us tonight over dinner. Dinner was mushroom pasta. Needless to say, not super hungry anymore. Yeah, I mean the clickers are, to put it quite frankly, they are fucking disgusting. They're gross. They're weird. We have a poll that we're going to talk about later in the show that we put out on our Twitter page, and we'll put it across our social media as well. We want you guys to get involved there, about kind of the like creepiest humanoid, characters that we've seen in TV recently, and it's all shows we've watched here on the podcast. So make sure you go vote in that on our Twitter page, and we'll put it across our social media as well. But they are terrifying, man. Like, they really, I think they did such a good job of that aspect that they talk about in the after show of, like, if you haven't played the video game, it instills that fear in you, and it's like, oh shit, like, what the hell are these things? And I think that's a job well done by just like the showrunners and everything to bring that to life.
Yeah, they're balancing people who have not seen or played the video game and people who have, and they're making us come together and hold hands essentially and both be like, this is scary. Like, we are scared.
100%. The average viewership went up for this episode as well from last week. Last week on debut day, it was at like a little over 500,000 on Sunday night, and then this past Sunday, it was about like 600,000 plus.
So I feel like
that watched.
People honestly, not knocking it, I feel like people probably just forgot and or it was kind of like close to football season and there was football going on. So I just feel like it wasn't really in the present mind. But
yeah, because when you saw the numbers boost on the 2-day jump from last week, where it went from 500,000 to 10 million in 2 days,
yeah,
that kind of, that the proof is in the pudding there.
It's telling that A, it's a good show, B, it was received well, and C, I think people just generally forgot about it or just didn't get time to watch it yet.
And I think from the people that are not football fans, I think they were kind of waiting to see the reception of the show. And I think it's more so the people who have played the video game that waited. And it's like, okay, I'm going to wait and see what people are saying about this before I dive in. And I think that also played a part in like this past episode's numbers going up on Sunday watch day as opposed to the premiere day. Yeah,
they're all valid reasons. Like we just said, there's obviously several reasons, but nonetheless, it skyrocketed in volume and numbers watched, and for a good reason. And I think it will never see that low of a number again going forward the rest of the show.
Yeah. Christian talked about this in his breakdown, which we'll get to after hours, but I wanted to get your thoughts too, because now it's 2 straight episodes that we've had kind of that cold open. I kind of want to see that on every episode, to be honest. I think it plays really well, and it kind of sets like that like horror instilling feel.
I agree with that as well.
Yeah.
Me too. I especially because it's all interconnected. Like the first one, it was like way back. There just takes hit of cigarette of like blunt, and he's like, "Yo, dude, humanity's gonna die." And then they're like, "Nah," and he explains it, and then everyone's like, "Oh my god, this man's right." Second one is literally, remember in the first episode, they were talking about the incident in that country on TV, and then his daughter was able to identify it. And Tommy was like, "Oh, there's hope for us yet." And then, boom, second episode, talking about that. So I'm hoping, if they're following that trajectory, I'm hoping the third one follows either like the scientist lady or the military guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like further into the infection in that country. And then goes from there, because I'm not sure what else they would, if they're going kind of like jumping along but like still following the story. I'm not sure what else, unless they show like a flashback of Joel and like how he survived. Either way, I'm interested to see anything of that nature.
Yeah, I definitely I want to see the cold openings, because I feel like it sets the tone too.
Yeah, I was upset this one. I really like this one too. I was almost upset when the cold opening ended, because I was like, dude, I want to know what happens in this like other country. I want to see how the infection starts. Like,
yeah, because that was where like we heard the radio station in the last episode too, was where that took place, and then this cold opening happened 2 days prior to what happened in Texas that we saw in episode 1.
It didn't take long for it to go across the world.
Yeah. So here we go. Episode 2 breakdown. In 2003, 2 days prior to the events in Austin, authorities in Jakarta asked Dr. Ratna, played by Christine Hakim, a mycology professor, to examine the corpse of a woman who was recently killed after attacking her co-workers at a flower factory. Ratna notices the corpse has a human bite mark on its leg and fungal growths in its mouth. I gotta say, too, that's the, like, grossest and, like, skeeviest part of the whole, like, concept is the fucking mouth shit. Ugh.
Yep, but it makes you like it makes you unnerved, makes you nervous.
It makes me like
Disgusted.
my spine shivers. After learning the growths have been identified as cordyceps, and several workers from the same factory are missing, military officer Agus Hidayat, played by Yayu A.W. Unruh, asks her what can be done to prevent further spread, and Ratna, like, very, like, eerily, just like, bomb the city, bomb this place, wipe out everyone living in it, and that kind of, like, gets you like, oh shit, what is about to happen here?
It was nuts for this lady who has studied this all her life just to be like, yep, throw it in the trash can. And then she's like basically saying in her own words, I'm gonna die, we're gonna die, like, drive me back to my family. That was eerie. And before the guy explained it, when she was like, did she or any of the coworkers missing or whatever, and he was like 14, and I was like, and you didn't arrest them? And then he was like, yeah, we executed them. And I was like, woof.
We're in the clear.
But then she was like, oh, the person who bit her is not there. And I'm like, oh.
Oh, no. So then we jump back to 2023, where Joel and Tess hold Ellie at gunpoint and demand to know why they were tasked with escorting her. Ellie reveals the Fireflies have established a secret camp out west with doctors working on a vaccine to prevent infection, and her DNA may be the key to ensuring the success of the vaccine. Joel demands they return to the quarantine zone, but Tess, still skeptical of Ellie's immunity, nonetheless convinces him to follow through with their original arrangement, as the Fireflies will still give them supplies. As the group make their way towards the Massachusetts State House, Tess discovers a large pack of infected, blocking the route she planned to use, explaining to Ellie the fungi can sense uninfected humans across long distances and draw its hosts toward them. Tess suggests going through a museum, and a roof cave-in attracts two clickers, mutated hosts who rely on sound to move.
Part's not in the game, by the way. The whole, like, vine attracting thing. I don't think it would work in the video game sense, because I think you would feel kind of cheated if you just randomly stepped on something and then, like, 18,000 zombies showed up.
Yeah.
So it's an example, I think. I'm bringing this up because I think it's something they changed for the better. I think it works really well on the show. It's fucking unearthing to realize that me and you, if we were still alive, our clumsy asses, we stepped on the wrong thing and like, you're dead.
God. Gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Heebie-jeebies.
Ellie gets bitten before Joel and Tess can kill the clickers, and when they arrive at the State House, the Fireflies do not come out to meet them. Tess checks inside and finds all of them dead, and Joel finds evidence of infection and surmises they killed each other. Tess tries to find clues on where to go next, but Joel tells her the job is finished and they will return home. Tess tells him that she cannot go back, revealing a bite mark on her neck. She reveals Ellie's mark has already healed, proving she is immune. Joel shoots an infected Firefly who tries to attack him, revealing their location to other infected hosts in the city. Tess tells Joel to take Ellie to fellow smugglers Bill and Frank. Most generic white men names. Since they will be able to help. She covers the room with gasoline and grenades as Joel and Ellie leave. And Ellie being like, "We're not leaving her, you fucker." I was dying laughing when she said that to Pedro.
I was like, "Oh, sweetie, she's dead."
An infected man begins the process of converting Tess when she ignites the building, killing the creatures. Joel and Ellie watch as the State House explodes before Joel walks away. That scene was just so gross. Like, it was like, I want you to tell the people too, because you saw a theory on TikTok that, like, it's like one of those, like, you don't know if it's truly a theory, but the maths.
Yeah, the math does math. So there are some people that think along the lines of, I think it's probably where Kyle and I stand, this is the most logical. She didn't, like, run. She was already infected, so the easiest way for the zombie to infect her was not to bite her again, was to do the fungal transfer essentially. That is what makes sense. But people are also perceiving it as her love is kind of one-sided to Joel. I think she likes Joel more than Joel liked her. I do think they care for each other, but nonetheless. So I think when she tells Joel she's infected, it looks like she wants a hug or a kiss and or both. But Joel's just like, all right, I'll take the girl. Yawn. And there are people who are theorizing that maybe because she wanted to kiss Joel so badly, and she's technically infected, it ties into the hive mind. That's why the guy kisses her, because she, A, wanted to kiss Joel, or people also interpret it as she's like welcoming the kiss of death.
The math Either way,
they all kind of tie together. They all kind of math. It's just how you look at it. Which is, once again, Kyle and I said it off camera. I'll say it on camera. It's something the show is doing well. They are changing things from the video game, because that was not in the video game.
Could you imagine if that was in a video game?
If that was in a video game, that'd be nuts. But point is, they're changing things for the better, because it's keeping me or anyone who's played or watched it like guessing on certain moments. And then they're doing things like that where it's kind of open-ended but conclusive. Like, the end message is clear. She becomes more infected, she dies. But how I just talked about it because Kyle wanted me to explain the theory, or you might have a different theory. There's enough there where you can make your own little conclusions. I think that's going to be a theme, along with the, awesome openings of like past tense things. I think they're doing this on purpose to really set the mood and also let the viewer kind of like feel more like a video game. Like they're kind of choosing or interpreting things how they want to interpret it, while still all getting the same message.
Yeah. So, before Dylan and I get into our ratings breakdown, we are going to kick it to Christian's breakdown of the episode, and it's brought to you by our new pals over at W Energy. They are that next up-and-coming company that we are so thrilled to be partnered with. You see all these energy drinks and everything out there claiming they're crash-free, jitter-free, and then you still end up feeling like you're all wired and ready to bounce off the walls. W does not include any of that. You're probably wondering, well, then what makes them so different? Kyle, what are you talking about? Well, W is formulated to give you focus and energy with no jitters or crash. Their formula contains vitamins, amino acids, and nootropics, including the patented neurofactor, which has been proven in clinical studies to help improve cognitive brain performance. W contains no calories, no sugar, no maltodextrin, no fillers, and no artificial color. So that fruit punch flavor they have, guys, there's no red 40 in it. There's no yellow 5 in any of this stuff. W's produced in the USA in an FDA-registered and an inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP guidelines. And, when you're out and about and feeling like you need that extra boost,
take it.
W's ready to rock and roll. There's 10 awesome ingredients in W. It's all natural. It's got the same amount of caffeine as 2 cups of coffee, and they're going to war on big energy, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to war. And you guys can go check out everything on their website at w.gg. Some of the flavors they have, Big Energy Tears. That's your blue raspberry flavor, which I've seen comparisons for it to give you a kind of an idea. I saw one comparison that was, it tastes like the blue icy, just without a brain freeze. And I also saw it taste like the blue Sour Patch Kids. So there's that one for you. I got a starter pack that came in just yesterday. We tried W live on Underground Sports Philadelphia last night as well. It's awesome, dude. Tastes so good. I tried the Dragonade, which is dragon fruit and pink strawberry lemonade. And I saw the official W account tweet today that a little birdie told them that the Dragonade with a little splash of Sprite is phenomenal. If you need that carbonation with your energy, maybe give that a go. They've got Dub Sludge, which is Granny Smith apple and secret sauce. They got Passion Joy tea, Push and Punch.
Really want to try the Galaxy Grenade one, dude.
The starter pack came with a Galaxy Grenade, little packet, so I'm excited about that. They are working on getting things, back in stock. They said some of their stuff is currently sold out because they're working on getting stuff in stores. So that's pretty exciting. And they just released the new Gen 2 Shaker Cup, which is the Stormtrooper, which is right up our alley. Because shout out to the Republic, shout out to the Resistance, go Star Wars. We also got our wartime black camo flag that will be hanging up in the studio as well. They've got awesome merch, and you guys can get a nice little discount from our friends at Dubby. When you go to dubby.gg, get everything in your cart, and you go to checkout, use code Underground, you get 10% off at dubby.gg. I mean, Dylan, we also have said it since Dubby partnered with us. You know, you've been to your typical vitamin shops and everything. You see the pre-workouts, you see the energy supplements.
I literally have the website up again just so I can react live essentially again, and he's not lying. They are $40 is very fair pricing, if not good pricing, for the size of tub they're getting. And let's face it, not everyone likes coffee. Not everyone likes carbonated energy. Not everyone wants to drink soda, obviously, 24/7. That's not good for you. So it's good to try alternatives, and this is a great price alternative. And I 100%, when this is over, I'm buying a tub for myself.
So there it is. And I'm pretty sure, too, when you go to their website, there's a little pop-up that shows up. I did it separately so I could use, because you need to use a different code for that. But if you sign up for their newsletter, you get a smaller mint-colored shaker as well. And I got that as well, which is pretty neat. But use our code Underground. You support us and get some quality, natural energy into you with our friends from Dubby. So without any further ado, let's kick it to Christian's breakdown of The Last of Us Episode 2. Well, hello, everybody. You probably heard earlier, if you're watching on YouTube, it's just Dylan and myself. And if you're listening on the podcast, you just heard Dylan and myself. But I'm introing this part of the episode. It's KB and Christian, and we are going to give Christian's breakdown of The Last of Us Episode 2 on HBO Max. And, we also got the announcement, too, that we'll talk about later in the show, but we'll talk about it here, too. Pedro Pascal hosting Saturday Night Live for the very first time. Can't wait. But Christian, Episode 2 of The Last of Us, it's just continued. I have seen more people who have not played the video game just be like, yeah, I'm going to, jump down the rabbit hole and I'm going to watch this show. Yeah, and I've seen way more, casual viewership of this show than other HBO or any big time kind of shows than I have in quite a while.
I think it's the perfect storm of kind of a piece of pop culture iconography, a strong and accessible brand creating the show, and great critical praise combined to make essentially a smash hit. There's not many other ways to describe the show at this point. It's a smash hit through and through. It is probably the biggest sensation on HBO Max in a while, because I'm going to say it's more of a sensation than House of the Dragon, simply because House of the Dragon was kind of existing IP.
And there was a lot of people that just had tempered expectations about that too.
Yeah, whereas here we are adapting straight from a video game, which already raises a certain level of hesitancy. Combine that with the HBO brand, which, like it or not, all the shows have extremely high floors. You can take or leave humor and stuff at points. So I would say this is HBO's biggest smash hit in a long time. Maybe since, if I wanted to go into a limited series, maybe Watchmen?
It's a good call.
because Watchmen touched the popular nerve as well as the critical nerve,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to say I may destroy you because that hit the critical nerve, but it didn't hit the popular nerve.
Yeah.
So
I like that comparison. Plus, Watchmen had like The Last of Us has that built-in like video game IP. Watchmen had like the comic book side of things as well for the true nerds. But what were your thoughts on episode 2 as we continue on this journey with the Riz God Pedro Pascal?
So it obviously didn't peak as hard as the first one, but it was a very, very good next step because once again, and this is clear once they actually get into Boston or doing their journey through the city, the craft work is amazing. Like, there's simply no other way to phrase it, and that's one of the key things that's making this show so good. And I touched on this last week, I'm touching on it again. It feels like you can touch Boston. It feels like you can walk on the ground.
I feel like I'm in Pat Pitts' backyard.
It is clear that they're using CGI, but it's not easy to find CGI, and it doesn't look flat, which is the problem that Uncharted and Marvel and all these other shows tend to have. And that helps the show so much. And when you're going through Boston, specifically when they're hearing the clickers when they're walking on that overpass, and it goes into the wide shot, and they're standing on the overpass, and you have the kind of cars down below, and the city in the back. My thought was, I can't tell what isn't CGI here. It is that good looking. And so that is key. And then just the practical face makeup is astounding. And we're going to get even more of that as the show goes on, which is very exciting. And
Yeah, I have...
Yeah.
We finally have a full list of who's actually directing and writing each episode too available, which we knew the writers for each one. It was either Craig Mazin or Neil Druckmann
for the one, yeah.
Which episode 9 they're both writing.
Excellent, wonderful, stupendous. Which they both wrote the first episode, and now they're both writing the last episode. Kudos.
And Craig directed episode 1, and Neil directed episode 2. And then we're getting into the other directors from episode 3 through 9 while they keep writing.
One thing I do want to note is the director behind episodes 8 and 9. I'm going to absolutely butcher this. Ali Abbasi?
Mm-hmm.
Directed a very highly praised film from last year. This Iranian film, Persian film, however you want to define it, called Holy Spider, which got a bunch of praise. If I look up specifically, it got a bunch of praise at Cannes, and as expected, the Iranian government condemned it. But that's because it's a film. It's a film about a journalist investigating a serial killer who murders sex workers. So, and I have the poster. The poster's really cool. But it's nice to see that he, off of doing that great movie, is doing 2 episodes. And yeah, it's nice to see. It is nice to see a bunch of talented people getting a chance to do episodes like this.
I'm very excited. I'm looking at the director for episode 3,
Mm-hmm.
Peter Hoare.
Mm-hmm.
Best known for his work on shows that you and I both love: Daredevil, The Umbrella Academy, Doctor Who, and It's a Sin.
It's gonna be a good time this Sunday.
I can't wait.
Also, on that note, thankfully the Eagles are the early game, so
Yes.
So if they win, we can decompress to a stressful episode of The Last of Us.
Very accurate.
Yeah.
And then we have Jeremy Webb is for episodes 4 and 5. Jasmila Zbanic is episode 6.
Bob's the director.
Liza Johnson is for episode 7.
Liza Johnson, who has a animated SpongeBob movie coming out this year.
Saving Bikini Bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
But more notably, she has directed episodes of American Horror Story, Barry, Silicon Valley, What We Do in the Shadows, and Six Eyes of College Girls. So she has experience directing well-regarded TV shows.
Yeah. And she's got the HBO Max background.
Yeah.
So that works. But yeah, I mean, for this episode, I think like you said, like it didn't it wasn't like that initial opening banger of an episode like we got with week 1, but it's like that solid foundation piece that you need for a show like this.
Well, speaking of openings, oh boy. I think every episode's getting a cold open now, and oh boy, was this an effective cold open.
Yeah, I would like that, honestly, if each episode kind of gets that cold open to go. And I think it just fits the aesthetic of what The Last of Us is.
It also grounds the show as well, too, but it's also giving them a chance to deal with kind of exposition and world building that wasn't in the game itself. From what I know. So, in the first episode, we got the 1960s talk show, which is bleak. And then here we get the micrologist. I hate trying to pronounce that word.
Yes.
And her speech in the bedroom, where she's just saying, "Bomb it," is harrowing. And so it's now a question of what do they have for us this next week? Because this is like these cold opens are arguably the best scenes in both episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see if they continue that trend, and if so, how they keep building it out. Because if you remember, on the radio in the first episode, what country do they bring up? Indonesia. Where's the cold open? Indonesia. So there are threads that are starting to build.
And the cold opening happens 2 days before the outbreak.
Yeah. So
looking at the the US viewers by millions, 0.633 this week as compared to 0.588 for episode 1. So it's going up. That's always exciting to kind of just see more and more people like waiting it out to see how the first episode is, and then it's like, oh, I hear great things about it. I think I'm going to tune in. So we'll see if that continues to go up. But I mean, I think, like we mentioned, they're kind of doing what we hoped with this show in terms of just like hitting the nail on the head with everything, using the video game as source material. The acting's phenomenal, as we all expected. The premiere episode, too, now that we have the numbers that are out, it had 4.7 million viewers in the United States on its first night of availability. And including linear viewers and streams on HBO Max, it makes it the second largest debut for HBO since 2010 behind House of the Dragon.
Yep. It's big. Very big.
And then it increased to over 10 million viewers after 2 days and 18 million after a week.
Which I know you're going to talk about this in your news and notes, but the most streamed shows of, what was it, last year chart that came out?
Yeah, it was the top 15 streaming shows according to the Nielsen ratings of 2022.
Which I'm going to quickly touch on this now. The gap between Stranger Things and everything else was shocking.
Massive.
Yeah, but circling back to that, and in this point, this is going to be towards the top of that for this upcoming year because Netflix doesn't have anything to match it.
No. Yeah, it was
Netflix has nothing to match that right now.
Insane. Like 52 billion minutes viewed for Stranger Things season 4. The next closest was Ozark at 31.3 billion.
To be fair, though, how many episodes was Stranger Things?
34, and Ozark was 44.
Wait.
I guess it's Stranger Things as a whole.
Okay. That I was gonna say that I don't think there was 34 episodes of Stranger Things last year. I thought there was like 12, but
I think
I don't think there's 34.
I think it was 9 total for season 4. It was 7, and then they did 2.
All I remember was it was divided into 2 parts, and it was somewhere around 10 to 12 or something like that. So
I think the more impressive thing on this list is that Wednesday was number 3 with only 8 episodes at 18.6 billion.
Yeah, but that's the TikTok effect.
Very true.
Where that just catches on like wildfire, and then everyone starts watching it. And plus, it only being 8 episodes arguably entices people more to watch it because it's a quicker watch than other things, and you aren't necessarily tied into knowing previous stuff about it.
Yeah, and then there's only 2 non-Netflix properties on this list.
Yeah,
and they're both on Prime Video.
Which, as I'll say again, best of luck this year, Netflix. We have no clue what's coming out TV-wise for you. If there's a Ryan Murphy thing, I'm sure they'll.
The only thing I know is the next season of You.
That doesn't do anything for me. But
you and me both.
Like HBO is letting all their ducks up in a row. We have The Last of Us, Succession. We're getting Winning Time. Which, did you watch the first season of that, Kyle?
I didn't, but I plan on it.
Watch it. It's great. It's so much fun. We're gonna get Barry. So we're of all those 3, and then I think there's a serious chance that Ted Lasso also makes on those because I think Ted Lasso has finally reached pop cultural mass after 2 seasons and all of these awards. So there's a chance that will also be on the list, which this is a whole nother podcast topic we can do when I'm on the show with the 2 of you.
Yeah.
But
and I think The Mandalorian's going to make it on for 2023.
Well, yeah, there's hope for Disney shows, right?
Just because it's been so long since season 2, people are going to go back and just rewatch everything. Yeah. But Christian, your score for The Last of Us episode 2, as we get set for, diving into the middle portion of the season. It's 9 episodes, so we're getting ready for, the final page of Act 1, if you will.
And this next episode's a big one by all regards. So I'm kind of torn on how I want to rate this because it's clearly doesn't reach as high of a peak. It's moving the story forward in a strong way. We even talk about them killing off Tess and all that, but I want to give it a 9, even though that feels high, because its first episode set such a high standard that I think very few episodes of this season may be able to match it. So, and given what I've given other stuff in the past, 8 feels too low. So I'm going to give it a 9 because 8.5 is kind of... There's too much care and love and craft and just good things in this show is especially this episode for me to dock it that much compared to the first episode.
And I think a lot of people tuned in for this episode as well because it was 53 minutes on the runtime.
But
So
yeah,
that helped, just like attention retention, #bars. But there it is. Christian's got a 9. You'll hear Dylan and I scores later on in the episode. But Christian, can't wait to have you back on the episode full blown next week. Enjoy your film tonight.
Yeah.
And keep it pop. Make sure you guys follow Christian on Twitter at @thewiz_phi. Check out his TikTok as well. And Christian will be back for the entire show next week.
Hopefully, yeah.
And we're back.
And we're live.
And we're ready to break down the news we got feeded to us. Shout out to Discussing Film for tweeting this out so that we could see it with our eyeballs. It is the 2022 Top 15 Streaming Programs, (originals) ratings, which is pretty awesome. There's some interesting stuff on this list. We're going to break it all down, and Christian brought up a good point after we finished recording too, Dylan. We could do a whole episode, probably like mid-year, on predicting what's going to be on the 2023 list.
That's a great point. That's a great idea. I like that.
So we might have that, summertime when things are a little bit slower, and hopefully we're gearing up for some more dragons potentially. We'll have that there as well. But the Nielsen ratings here, it's brought to you by our friends over at Tomahawk Shades, guys. When you're watching your favorite streaming platform shows and movies, you got to protect those eyeballs. You only get one pair, and you don't want to damage them. The Blue Light Plus glasses from Tomahawk Shades are the best in the game. Dylan's got the watch, so he can know when it's 9 o'clock to go watch The Last of Us on Sundays. And you throw in your blue light glasses from Tomahawk Shades, your eyeballs are going to feel so much less strained. You're going to be able to feel a lot better. You're going to sleep better. So go to TomahawkShades.com. Check out all the Blue Light Plus glasses they have. They've got watches. They've got sunglasses for your outdoor type of activities. They've got awesome hoodies, shirts as well. And you guys can get a whopping 25% off at TomahawkShades.com when you use code USP. That's right, 25% off. You're paying a fraction of the price already with how cheap Tomahawk Shades is in price, but high in quality. And then you're getting another fraction taken off with our code USP for 25% off. Go protect your eyeballs. TomahawkShades.com, code USP for 25% off your order. Dylan, the Nielsen ratings for last year's top 15 streaming programs was released. Some pretty interesting programs on the list. Some pretty interesting, I think, anecdotes to take away from this list.
Seems like the common thread is that a certain streaming service is on there.
Y'all thought Netflix was dead. Netflix in 2022 was alive and well.
I started shooting, blasting.
They dominate the top 15 here. They have 13 of the top 15 programs on the Nielsen ratings for the original programmings on streaming platforms. So here are the top 15. We'll go in reverse order because I think it is pretty interesting, some of the ones towards the bottom. Number 15, we start off with one of the two non-Netflix programs, The Rings of Power, on Prime Video. 8 episodes with 9.4 billion minutes viewed. I did see a lot of people in the comments on the original post of this graphic saying The Rings of Power is the most expensive show of all time. And it's number 15 on the list. Yikes.
I have nothing to say.
I think a part of that is the Prime Video thing that we talked about last week, where
it's
the marketing.
It's marketing. It's like not sexy, like Netflix is all reliable. It is the longest tenured employee at the office, it's just there. Speaking of office, you don't have that on your service, assholes. I'm coming in hot. No, but like,
oh my god, it's happening.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think Netflix still isn't a good streaming service by volume. I just think it has hits. Like, I think if you want to watch a movie, you're gonna go on like Netflix or like possibly HBO or something else to find a movie that's not like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I'm going on HBO Max. But I do agree that the Ring of Powers being 15 is a bad look. I just think it's a really niche fan group to apply to, and B, I think you're 100% right with advertising and stuff.
Yeah, so the Rings of Power clocks in at number 15. Number 14, we pick up with Netflix. The Last Kingdom, which I'm not too familiar with, so all of these episodes too, by the way, I should preference this, with Nielsen, it encapsulates every episode of that program. So it's, season 1, season 2, however many it totals all of the episodes, and then those
so there might
watch
be
minutes.
more more content for a show to potentially be higher.
So when we get towards the top, it'll kind of make more sense with some of them. But The Last Kingdom has 46 episodes and got 10.4 billion minutes viewed at number 14. Number 13, The Umbrella Academy. Also Netflix with 30 episodes at 10.5 billion minutes viewed. Number 12 is pretty interesting. I think this is one of those Netflix comfort shows for people. And kind of surprising. 85 episodes, so it is one of those things that you can kind of just like turn on in the background as well. With 10.6 billion views. The Great British Baking Show.
Dude, people fucking love their cooking shows. Think about how popular he was or still is, Gordon Ramsay, and that atmosphere, and people like the shows in which things are fixed. So I think that's very niche. And you're right. That's probably a good show. Like, for example, I'm actually watching Last Chance U for the first time. And that's my, like, throw it on in the background, you know what I mean? Like I'm doing work kind of show. So I think everyone has that show. And it happens to be Netflix. So look at me, I'm feeding the monster.
And then number 11 also with 10.6 billion minutes viewed, 24 episodes. It's our other non-Netflix. It's also on Prime Video, The Boys.
Although I will give Amazon credit. I mean, they're the only two on here besides Netflix.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising.
I think it's surprising, but not. Because you got to realize the lowest one on here is 9.4 billion. So there could be a couple shows that are still over a billion, just not over 9 billion. You know what I mean? Like
definitely.
There's probably shows on Hulu that have almost a billion or like 2 billion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, you look at platforms like Disney Plus and HBO Max, where this year for HBO, the big banger, well, this year being 2022, the big banger was obviously House of the Dragon, but that doesn't get under the same umbrella as Game of Thrones. It's the same IP, but it's different, if that makes sense for people.
Well, there's also only a handful of episodes, so it's harder for that to get, like, if House of Dragons were on this list, the amount of math I don't feel like doing, but like, you know how many views it'd have to get each set? Like, it was only 7 episodes, whatever it was?
It was 8 episodes, I think.
That's so many views.
Or it was either 8 or 10. One of those.
Either way, you get my point. Like, there's most.
But I think that plays into part of it, where like you look at like some of the shows we've talked about so far, like The Boys, The Last Kingdom, where there's
The Boys has 3 seasons.
Yeah, so with those numbers, that 10.6 billion minutes viewed is all 3 seasons of The Boys being put under that.
To defend the other Amazon entity, Lord of the Rings only has 8 seasons so far.
Right.
But
we'll also get to something that also has a season later on the list that blew my mind.
Oh, I've watched that one.
So The Boys comes in at number 11. Number 10, Netflix. This was another popular one amongst, that niche group. Taking the jump to 12.7 billion minutes viewed on Netflix. The Crown. That's another one of those, shows that like you either like it or you don't. I'm not a Royals guy.
No,
Dylan's not a Royals guy, so boo you.
Seems like the age demographic for this list is like over 40.
Number 9, with 9 episodes, so I'm assuming that's just one season, because I've honestly never heard of this show.
I was going to say the same thing. I've never heard of this show either. I don't know. I'll have to Google it right now.
12.9 billion minutes viewed. Inventing Anna on Netflix comes in at number 9. I mean, for a show I've never heard of, good on Inventing Anna.
Doesn't have good reviews either.
Oof.
Got 64 Rotten Tomato and 6.8 in IMDb, so it very much falls under. It's only one season though, which is actually impressive. It must have been like a socially like it must have been like one of those shows where there's like a plot twist or like people are like, yeah, you got to watch this.
Yeah.
One of those things that's not really good, but like, you know what I mean, still watched. Clearly it's not good because
Julia Garner, Laverne Cox, and Arian Moayed, who is our guy from the DODC in the MCU.
It's like brand new too, Kyle. The first episode dated February 11th, 2020.
It's barely a year old.
Yeah. That's actually crazy that we haven't heard of it and it has that much views in only one season. So good on the showrunners, but yeah, not good enough for Kyle and I to know. No, I'm kidding.
And then number 8, this is one of Netflix's, cash cows, 40 episodes, 13.1 billion minutes viewed. Love is Blind. Checks out. That is another one of those, throw it on in the background type of shows, or people are just hardcore fans of it. So Love is Blind at number 8. Number 7, Netflix as well.
Opposite of the last show.
10 episodes, 13.4 billion minutes viewed. The Jeffrey Dahmer with Evan Peters docuseries that took the internet by storm. Number 6 on Netflix, 42 episodes, 13.6 billion views. Virgin River.
To be honest,
never heard of that one either.
I was just going to say the same thing. Huh. I'm like looking at it now. No, I don't really. It doesn't really ring any bells.
Yeah. Good on Virgin River.
All I got to say is yeah.
Coming in at number 5, so we're in the top 5 here. 14 billion on the minutes viewed. This one I do know. 16 episodes. This one makes a lot of sense. It's a very popular show. Bridgerton comes in at number 5. Number 4, this one kind of surprised me a bit.
Yes,
but I know it is popular.
This is why I made that 40-plus joke with the viewership, because this is a show that my mom and my aunt and everyone watched, and they're like, "Are you watching this?" And I'm like, "No, I have no desire."
50 episodes, 16.7 billion minutes viewed. Cobra Kai.
And that's the key word right there. The 50-episode thing's huge.
Yeah, there's 4 seasons, I believe.
Yeah.
So Cobra Kai comes in there. This one is the one that, like, when you look at the Rings of Power and then you look at this one, it's like, oh, buddy.
This is the one that it's like, you tried, but Jenna Ortega has conquered the Lord of the Rings.
And Christian brought this up, too. This is the TikTok effect as well.
You're right, because I haven't seen a single Lord of the Rings Ring of Power TikTok, and I'm on, like, Lord of the Ring TikTok, so to speak.
18.6 billion minutes viewed. It broke records in its first week. 8 episodes. Number 3, Wednesday. Job well done, Jenna Ortega. And the cast of Wednesday got renewed for season 2 as well. But here's the crazy part. We go from 18.6 billion for
jumps, bro.
8 episodes of Wednesday. Then we jump to the big dogs. 31.3 billion minutes viewed. At number 2, 44 episodes. I believe it's 4 seasons of this show, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, 3 or 4, yeah. I think the fourth season just came out recently.
Which was the last season. Ozark.
This is a show that I really haven't started yet, and I need to.
Same. My parents loved it. I don't know how they felt about the final season or not, but they were big Ozark peeps. But then at number 1.
Come on.
So we go from 31.3 billion minutes viewed to 52 billion minutes viewed.
Squid Games! No, I'm kidding.
34 episodes. The big dog, Stranger Things. Makes a ton of sense why that's number one. Simply from the fact that Season 4 took the internet by storm, and it took so long for them to be able to get Season 4 out to the people
TikTok
that people
effect,
just
too.
went back and binged to get ready for through Season 1 to 3. And then, obviously, first season with TikTok being as massive as it is, you get all the theories, you get all the craziness going down. And I think
times I saw running up that hill, that scene on TikTok, I was like, I get it. It's a
dude, running up that hill got nominated for an American Music Award this year for Best Rock Song. Like, that's fucking cool. Shout out Kate Bush.
That's the power of that social media and a popular television show when they coincide. That's what shit like, it happens.
And I think you look at the top two here, Dylan, and they have something very much in common.
OG staples of Netflix.
That and the last seasons that they've put out with Ozark and Stranger Things did that thing where they split their most recent season into 2 parts.
So I think the 2-part might be the way to go going forward when you're concluding a show. But A, I feel like that has to be the conclusion. You can't like come back and like half-ass it and like for another season. And B, bless you again, it's me sneeze. B, I think, I mean, obviously it's without saying, but it still holds merit. The show has to be like super quality in order to like just like cut your fan base off and be like, just kidding, come back for the second half, because there are so many like shows that I've watched that I feel like if they've cut like a season and a half, I would have been like, fuck this, I'm out. And there are some shows where like these 2 shows would have been like, let's go, I'll wait, I'm hype, I can't wait. Like, do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, there are some shows where I feel like if they did that, it just wouldn't fit.
And I think for the Nielsen ratings, in terms of like minutes viewed, with those 2 shows getting cut in half or, you know, in 2 parts, Stranger Things, especially since we've watched it, like it was a month pretty much gap between part 1 and part 2. During that 1 month span, people probably went back, watched seasons 1 through 3, watched part 1 of season 4 again, and that boosted the minutes viewed there while they waited for that second part to come out.
Yeah, that's a great point. Actually, I wasn't even thinking about it from that angle, but that's true, because you're bored, you're waiting for your favorite show to come on, you want to know how the season's going to conclude. Maybe you're a sicko like Kyle and me and want to rewatch it and see if there's any like foreshadowing or like little breadcrumbs they left in the background. You want to pick up on, you know what I mean, details, which is there depending on the show. Whatever the reason may be, it definitely probably added to a couple extra million views just on that alone.
Now, Christian and I kind of talked about this a little bit too towards the end of his breakdown. Netflix doesn't really have too many bangers in the pipeline for 2023. They have season 4 or whatever season that is, but like
I think that's on purpose.
Another niche show that if it does make this list, it'll be, I think, in like the 10 to 15 range.
That's true. I think that's on purpose, though, because I think they're just putting all their eggs in the basket in terms of, like, we know Squid Games is going to get another sequel sooner than not. We know Stranger Things is coming back.
Which
I don't think
raises the question,
done, right?
like,
Is Bridgerton done?
I don't think so. And I think they have, like, spin-offs that are in the works, too.
So my point is, like, several of these shows on the list, and then you want to flip it even to Amazon. I'm assuming Lord of the Rings Ring of Power is going to have a second season.
Yeah, I think so.
I know The Boys is having a 4th season. So, like, a lot of these things on this list are, like, having other seasons. So I just feel like Netflix is doing the method of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm sure they'll sprinkle out. This is so true. I'm sure they'll sprinkle out some shitty Netflix movies. That's just you're laughing, but it's true, dude. People get. I feel bad. People get hype, and every once in a while they might have an okay one. But like people are like, yeah, like they'll tweet like some Netflix original, and I'm just like yawn. Like I was like Netflix original show, or like animated, or like even a documentary. Sure, Netflix original movie.
I'm looking ahead and thinking 2023, which I think we will have an episode predicting what will be on this list for 2023. Can already tell you, The Last of Us is probably going to be on this list somewhere.
Well, we know it already has 10 million views.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think HBO is poised to crack this list in 2023 in multiple spots. I think the tough one with Disney is the shows that they put out. It's not a lot of like season by season type of shows. It's very much like,
It's still kind of like, I don't want to say niche because Marvel's popular, but like The Last of Us, HBO, like Christian said last,
they're limited series.
Exactly, and HBO also just has, rightfully so, they hold this like this charisma, I guess to say, and they like when HBO drops a show, like it's gonna be no worse than like a 7 out of 10 because they put time and money and effort into it. So like you see HBO, and that's how AMC was too for a little while too. Like so some channels, some programs just get it. So my point is like the average adult will rather probably watch like The Last of Us or an HBO show before they watch like Loki or like Hawkeye or something. And that's not knocking the shows. It's just because I think that has a broader audience. If you see where I'm going with this like point that I'm trying to make. So I think to go with the Disney thing, I was trying to like agree with you that I think they have to plan accordingly because some shows people latch on to, like I know Mandalorian's extremely popular, and that's actually
which I was gonna say The Mandalorian would be the one show I think makes this list because it's kind of the Stranger Things and Ozark effect where it's been so long since season 2 of Mando came out that people are gonna go back, watch season 1 and 2, and then they're gonna watch season 3, and then there's gonna be the people that binge through when all of season 3 is out and watch it. So I think Mandalorian has a good shot to make it on this list. And for the people at home too, the 2022 list, it's the dates are from December 27th, 2021 through Christmas Day 2022, and it's the rank is based on persons 2+ minutes viewed in billions.
I like that.
So that's how they determine it for the Nielsen ratings. But I think Mandalorian is the one Disney property that has a chance to crack this list. And then I think it's going to be a lot of HBO. I think there's going to be, a couple more Prime Video things sprinkled in. You could get your Jack Ryans on this list potentially now with the new season out. People go through, watch the entire, 4-season run through.
You think we'll see House of Dragons on there?
I don't know if we'll get House of the Dragon. I think it depends on when we get season 2.
That's
if
true.
we get, I don't think we're getting season 2 in 2023.
That's
I think
true.
2024 we'll get House of the Dragon on this list. But it's going to be interesting to see what winds up on this list across the board and what streaming platforms, crack in and see how much if the Netflix domination continues again. Because there's going to be shows on here that I think, continue to get those watch hours.
It probably will. I honestly would expect if it's 15 again, which seems to be the trend for his list, I would expect Netflix to have no less than like 7 or 8, and then probably up to like 10 or 11 again. I'm being optimistic. Maybe we see like 5 or 4 non-Netflix entities, which would be an increase of 3 or 2. It's plausible. If we add Mandalorian in here, The Boys can easily be on there again.
Yes.
And then Lord of the Rings, maybe if the next season comes out quickly, but I doubt it. But the point is, there's some room for growth. And then whenever the Squid Games comes out, I feel
that'll
like
be on there for
the
sure. So there's the 2022 Nielsen ratings. Let us know your guys' thoughts on the list. Were there any surprises to you that were kind of left out of the top 15? No surprises in the top 15. Let us know in the comment section on YouTube. But without any further ado, let's get to everybody's favorite segment. It is the streaming platform Multiverse News and Notes, brought to you by our friends over at Kenwood Beer, Dylan's favorite beverage of choice when he's watching his favorite shows and movies and sifting through all the news and notes.
For the Birds game, I'm literally gonna go an extra long lunch break, drive from Gloucester over into the nearest store in Philly, pick up a case, and then drive back because Your beer is worth it.
And according to Kenwood Beer Twitter, 2023 might be the first time we see a little red dot on the Kenny tracker in New Jersey.
For the love of everything, please, Kenny, please.
Please, Kenny. Kenny, please.
Kenny,
if you're going to the Wells Fargo Center as well, Big Kenny's available when you're taking in the Sixers, Flyers, Villanova basketball, or the Philadelphia Wings. Go to your local liquor store. I saw on their Instagram today they were posting they got the little pop-up, end cap type things with Kenwood, so they're going to be in your local liquor stores sooner than you think. Go to kenwoodbeer.com, use that Kenny tracker to see who's got it on tap in the Philadelphia area for the Birds game this weekend, or for The Last of Us, taking it all in, your favorite shows and movies. Have Kenny's ready to rock and roll. You got to be 21 or older to do so, and of course, please drink responsibly. Dylan, this first one comes on the heels of Christian telling me about this today. On Peacock, the first 4 episodes of a new show called Poker Face, starring Natasha Lyonne, are now streaming.
Johnson, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually, oh my god, that's nuts. I just heard the ad for that on the way home from the gym. As they're talking about it on the radio.
Did you see the cast for...
Did not see the cast. I literally just heard it at like 6 something coming home. All I knew was that it was like a mystery or whatever, Poker Face.
Yeah, it's a mystery of the week series.
Okay.
So here's the cast. You thought Oppenheimer was loaded. I'm about to blow your wig back. So it stars Natasha Lyonne, and then feature roles from Benjamin Bratt, Adrian Brody,
Hey,
Stephanie Sue, Chloe Savigny, Judith Light, Dasha Polanco,
wow.
Ellen Barkin, David Castaneda, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Charles Melton, Simon Helberg, Lil Rel Howery, Noah Segan, Hong Chow, Jamila Jamil, Tim Blake Nelson, Danielle McDonald, Nick Nolte, Ron Perlman, Tim Meadows, Luis Guzman, and S. Apatha Meckerson. Where did Peacock get this budget?
They're borrowing it from a friend.
Well, I made a funny joke, being that Peacock is NBC, it's Comcast. It's from all the Flyers season ticket holders.
They better use it while they can. I see quite a few of them are canceling their season tickets.
So yeah, I'm excited about that. We might be watching that show, just as a casual watch to talk about on the pod as well, but it looks awesome. I watched the trailer for it today. It looks super fun. We got our first look at our boy DK Harbour, David Harbour, in Christopher Landon's next film, We Have a Ghost. David Harbour as a ghost.
Yeah, that was a little weird to me. I'm intrigued by the project nonetheless, though.
Yeah. We also got our first look at Jennifer Coolidge as the West Bay medium in the same film, We Have a Ghost. And we got our first trailer, which releases on February 24th on Netflix. The most watched movies, Dylan, on streaming in 2022, according to Nielsen, from 15 to number 1. Number 15, Uncharted. Number 14, Frozen 2.
Real.
Number 13, The Eternals. Number 12, Coco. Number 11,
I love that movie.
Zootopia. Amazing movie.
I haven't seen that.
You would really like Zootopia. Number 10, The Gray Man.
Mid.
Number 9, Luca. Great movie.
Didn't see that one either.
Number 8, Frozen, the original.
I saw
Number 7, Don't Look Up.
Good
Number
movie.
6, Hocus Pocus 2.
Did not see that.
Number 5, The Atom Project.
Did not see that.
Number 4, Moana.
Okay, movie.
Number 3, Sing 2, which I heard phenomenal things about.
Is that like where is it like Scarlett Johansson and Taron Egerton and stuff?
I think so. It's like the sequel with like the koala that owns the theater and everything. Sing 1 was great. Sing 2 I heard amazing things about. Just haven't had a chance to watch it.
This list is all kids movies.
Number 2, Turning Red. And number 1, Encanto.
I hated Encanto.
I loved Encanto.
The grandma made me mad. The old hag. Literally,
Next.
if you haven't seen Encanto, don't listen for the next 3 seconds. Okay, ready? Okay, so the whole movie, I'm like, okay, I get it. I know that the uncle is this guy. He's not that bad. But I was like, the grandma at the very last second has to be like, oh, I'm only like this because. And I'm like, don't feel bad for her because she's old. She was a bitch to you the whole movie. I was like, put her ass in a home.
Dylan, we got our first look at the new trailer for Shazam: The Fury of the Gods, and they absolutely mutilate Citizens Bank Park.
I did not see that, but it's awesome. Well, not awesome, it's sad. I gotta watch that.
Movie releases in theaters March 17th.
I also forgot about that film. This is the beauty of having actual movie cinema back. Like, there are movies of decent quality releasing every month, essentially, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that comes out.
New movie that has come out that is on Paramount Plus, Teen Wolf the movie.
What?
Yeah.
Wait,
currently
is it
has
like a remake of the Michael J. Fox Teen Wolf?
uh-huh.
Ew.
Currently has a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes
As
from
it should.
8 reviews.
Usually remakes like that are trash.
You know it's a bad movie, and it might not be bad. I'm just saying this on the surface. No offense to anybody involved with the movie. But you know it's kind of bad when the movie's only an hour and 17 minutes long.
I've taken poops longer than that.
Phoebe
kidding.
Waller-Bridges has renewed her overall deal with Amazon. Her next series will be Sign Here, which follows a man who works a mundane job in the deals department on the 5th floor of hell. Pretty exciting there.
Okay.
We got news today that we'll be watching Saturday Night Live on February 4th because Riz God, Daddy Pedro himself, Pedro Pascal, is hosting for the very first time with musical guest Coldplay. I'm excited. Coldplay is the musical guest. Pedro Pascal is your host.
God damn!
What a loaded episode.
They went, yo, let's grab the most simped over current event actor right now, and then let's also grab, I don't know, one of the better bands of history. That's a watch.
I'm excited for that one because you already know there's going to be Mandalorian jokes and there's going to be Last of Us jokes.
I may or may not tape that for later use.
This one's kind of exciting for us. I don't know if you saw this movie or not, but Everything Everywhere All at Once will return to 1,400 theaters nationwide tomorrow.
No, I never got to see that, dude.
So it's going to be back in the theater starting tomorrow.
Did you get to watch it?
I did not. Christian owns it, so might have to go have a little movie day with the boys.
I'm down for that.
Shocking news. Netflix has renewed something for a season 2. The Recruit has been renewed for season 2 at Netflix.
Wow, something besides Stranger Things and Company lasted more than a season.
Avatar: The Way of Water has become the 5th highest grossing film of all time, passing Avengers: Infinity War.
Boo, tomato, tomato, boo.
I just don't get it.
I don't get it either. And Christian, I'm sorry when you listen, you're going to...
I know.
Screw you, Dylan. But, I don't get the infatuation with some James Cameron films. Most notably the ones where people paint themselves blue.
Yeah, like the Giants fans' dinghies.
Titanic, Terminator, great films. I watch Terminator all the time. But Avatar, I haven't had the desire to go back and watch the first one. Why would I go watch the second one? And my brother, who I would say is kind of similar to Kyle and I's taste in films, more or less, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably a 6-ish or 7 in relatability. Kyle, he literally adamantly ranted for almost an hour how much he hated it. So I don't know if you would feel the same way, but genuinely, I think if you and I went, we probably would leave feeling like, why would we sit here for 2.5 hours?
Yeah. Dylan, as I'm sitting here, I'm going to do something here on the YouTube. You're not going to see this if you're listening on audio, but you'll hear it. We forgot to give our rating for episode 2 of The Last of Us.
We did. We glanced right over that. We are silly boys.
We're silly cowabunga boys. Dylan, for you, since you didn't hear it, Christian gave episode 2 a rating of a 9.
Oh, damn it. I was going to go 9, too. I'll copy Christian. I was going to say 9 because I was going to say it wasn't as good as the initial pilot, but it wasn't bad. And it was still... The horror aspect alone was top tier. Felt like I was watching a genuine scary thing. And that kiss, man. I mean, like, people are going to be talking about that for years. That shit was gross.
That was disgusting.
It was. It was. Very disgusting.
You guys know I try to go on the decimal points to make the math real fun. So I'm gonna go 9.1.
You just wanted to be slightly different.
And adding that up real quick for the quick mathers at home, that gives it a 9.03 out of 10. So a solid flat 9 for episode 2 of The Last of Us. And now, back to the show. All right, Dylan, next piece of news here. Baz Luhrmann has signed a first-look deal with Warner Brothers to direct more films for the studio. For the people who may not know.
You know what else happened with Warner Brothers and HBO? They canceled 2 shows today.
We'll get into that for sure. For the people who don't know who Baz Luhrmann is, most recently worked on the new Elvis movie.
I actually did see that.
So that's pretty cool. Lance Reddick and Toby Stephens have been cast as Poseidon and Zeus in the Disney Plus Percy Jackson series. Can't tell you guys how excited I am for
he was just in something I watched the other day. Lance Reddick. He was in he's in that Vox Machina show on Amazon Prime. He plays a dragon. So
he'll be playing Zeus in Percy Jackson on Disney Plus.
Homie's just collecting his powerful animated character selves. The God of Thunder, and he was like the lead. He was the lead dragon in this too. So yeah, he's
one of the longest running shows. Dylan has been renewed for seasons 35 and 36. The Simpsons.
What? I always forget that show is still on, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just like, oh, it's still
on. Christian showed me the trailer for this next thing today that came out from A24 6 years ago. It is getting set to release on HBO Max on February 1st, starring Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano.
That's a good little duo right there.
Swiss Army Man, coming to HBO Max February 1st. After the show, I'm going to show Dylan this trailer, and I will record his reaction, so it will be in the episode. Dylan, when I tell you this is the most fucking weird, wild movie trailer, you're not going to believe your eyes.
Okay.
I'll give one spoiler, no context. There's a lot of farting.
I do that all the time.
A new TV series based on the beloved Frog and Toad books premieres on Apple TV Plus on April 28th.
The Frog and Toad books?
The Frog and Toad books.
What the hell?
Tobey Maguire. This is kind of a surprise because I think you and I both would agree on this. We would not have expected this from our boy Tobey. Tobey Maguire says he would return as Spider-Man again. Quote, "If these guys called me and said, would you show up to do this movie or read a scene or do a Spider-Man thing, it would be a yes." I feel like you and I both kind of agree. Like, after No Way Home, that was kind of like the swan song, like the thank you for, making all of this a reality type thing for Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man.
They want to bring him back to kill him off.
That too, or where he said read a scene or do a Spider-Man thing, that also kind of makes me like my brain go into the Spider-Verse.
I was hoping, there was rumors that they were going to get all of them to read a line or two. And for people who are immediately shutting it down, it really isn't that big of a deal in terms of, like, I know scheduling, but Toby, I feel like, is open enough nowadays. Didn't Andrew Garfield say he was taking a little bit of a break from acting anyway?
Yeah, he's
Voice
taking like a
acting
year or
is
so off.
taxing. And if they're reading a line, I'm not gonna act like I know the nuances of that. But like, if they're reading like a sentence or two, that can't take more than a day or two of shooting. So it's not, you know what I mean. And like, these guys are big stars. I mean, you throw them a check for a little bit of money. Maybe they do it for free. I don't know how dedicated they are to the roles. I'm sure out of the three, I'm sure one of them likes Spider-Man more than the other ones. But my point is, you can get all three.
100%. And speaking of Spider-Man, we have a new project for our boy, Willem Dafoe. He is allegedly in talks, according to Deadline, to star in Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, alongside Lily Rose Depp, Bill Skarsgård, and Nicholas Hoult.
It's an interesting cast or ensemble right there. I'm intrigued by that one, for say the least.
We have a secret role casting for one of our baby boy projects, the Thunderbolts, Dylan. Ayo Edebiri has allegedly been cast, according to Deadline, in a secret role in the Thunderbolts. For the people who may not be familiar with Ayo Edebiri, she's an American comedian. She's appeared on Comedy Central's Up Next and co-hosts the podcast Iconography with Olivia Craighead. She is best known as a voice actor on Big Mouth and a main cast member on the hit show The Bear.
Okay.
Very excited about that. I think she is the voice of Missy.
People have any ideas what she's playing? Or
it's a secret role, according to Deadline. So I don't know if it's
secret.
Yeah. Ayo Edebiri is the voice of Missy on Big Mouth for the Big Mouth fans out there. So that'll be very fun to see what happens there. And then some cool stuff here, because I feel like the toys department always kind of gives us a little tease into some things. And Dylan and I are both big Lego people. You know how they do the big Lego helmets, Dylan? The models?
Oh my god. I think I saw this on Twitter, but go ahead.
Star Wars clone helmet sets are now up for pre-order for Captain Rex and Commander Cody.
Wait, pre-order where? On the site?
On Amazon.
Hold on, Kyle. Keep talking. I have to make an adult purchase, everyone.
Commander Cody and Captain Rex pre-orders now available.
Head?
If you go to the Discussing Film Twitter, the links are directly there.
Oh my god, Kyle. I see him.
And one last thing, too, that I want to put out there. I heard from the boy, the one and only creator, founder of Culture Crave, at My Tweets Mid on Twitter, Zach. He obviously has not... We obviously haven't seen anything tweeted recently from Culture Crave since January 11th. Zach is good. Wanted to thank everybody for checking in. Working on getting Zach on the podcast because I'd love to have that happen. He said there's some stuff going on that he can't really discuss yet, but there will be news soon with Culture Crave. Culture Crave's like one of our big news sources that we go to, so hopefully, some things get figured out there. And sending our best to the homie Zach there at My Tweets Mid, the creator of Culture Crave. But that's all I got for the people here on this episode of StreamerSZN. Make sure you guys are following us on the socials at StreamerSZN on Twitter, Instagram. Follow Dylan on Twitter at Dylan Mazzola. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Follow Christian at TheWiz_PHI. Subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And Dylan, say the line.
The line is on any of those media platforms, whether you listen and or watch us, you are going to subscribe and like and comment, interact with us. And in the interactions, you're going to leave recommendations on what Kyle, Christian, and I are to watch next. Kyle literally read off a recommendation for a show earlier in this episode if you were listening, and that could be you next week or 2 weeks from now, etc. And we usually do hold true to the recommendations, whether we like the show enough to keep going, but we do initially try the show. So if you let us know, we will definitely try the show for you.
Yeah, big shout out to Casey for the show recommendation there. And make sure you guys subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. Subscribe, smash that like button, ring the bell icon, and you can do what Dylan just said with the line. And you can leave your show and movie recommendations in the comment section. Let us know how you felt about episode 2 of The Last of Us, the Nielsen ratings from 2022, your predictions for 2023, and anything that we discussed in the news and notes. Or if there's anything we missed news and notes-wise that we should be talking about, let us know. You can also DM us on Twitter and Instagram. Shout out to Strebin. He is always DMing us just fun clips and different things on Instagram. Loyal listener of the pod. But yeah, subscribe to the YouTube. Be a friend, tell a friend. Share it with your people. Trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark so we can take this channel to the next level. Go get your merch as well. phiapparel.co. Use code underground for 10% off. Get your streamer season merch. Tweet at us. Tag us on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, when you get your merch, because we want to see it in your streamer season merch. That's one of my hopes for this year too, Dylan. Is people get their streamer season merch when they're going to the movies. It's like, haha, selfie, streamer season, and tagging us when they're going to the movies. So go get your merch, phiapparel.co. Use code underground for 10% off your order. But this has been episode 111 of Streamer Season, the exclusive streaming platform TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Dylan, I'm KB. For Christian, he's at the movies. We're going to cowabunga on out of here. Hopefully avoid making some noises around some clickies. Oh, go vote in the poll. What's the scariest humanoid creature in TV that you've seen recently? Whether it's the clickers, the demogorgons, the butterflies from Peacemaker, or something else that we may not have thought of. Comment it on Twitter at StreamerSZN. But until then, we're getting the heck out of here. See ya!